Good day, everyone. Today my topic is comparison of indirect tax system between China and Japan. Indirect taxes have a multifaceted impact in the economic and the lives of individuals. From the economic point of view, indirect tax revenue is stable, but the tax burden on enterprise is heavy, affecting economic restructuring. From the perspective of personal life, indirect taxes increase the cost of living and affect consumption choices. Especially, the impact on low-income groups is more significant. The government can mitigate this impact and promote sustainable, healthy, and equitable economic and social development through measures such as adjusting and tax structure, implementing different tax policies, and strengthening tax publicity and education. Comparisons of China's and Japan's tax system have important value in various aspects, including economic restructuring, tax revenue stability, corporate tax burden, personal income tax, tax administration efficiency, and tax fairness. Through this comparison, we can better understand the characteristics and differences of the tax system of the two countries, and provide references and lessons for China's tax reform and economic restructuring. The structure of China's VAT is complicated, with different rates applied to different types of goods and services. The latest VAT law and related policy adjustments have further classified the tax rate and tax incentives. Production and management process of China's VAT includes the time of tax obligation, the place of taxation and taxable period, the advance payment of tax, the declaration of tax, and the management of invoices, the tax incentive and tax retention and refund. This process ensures the standardization and effectiveness of VAT collection and administration, and also provide clear guidance and convenience to taxpayers. Consumption tax is levied on a wide range of tax items, carrying 15 tax items such as cigarettes, alcohol, high-grade cosmetics, precious jewels and jewel and jade, firecrackers and fireworks, refined oil products, motorcycles, automobiles, golf balls and equipment, high-grade watches, yachts, wooden disposal, chopsticks, soiled wood flooring, berries and plants, and so on. The tax rate of consumption tax is set at a rate of 0.5% of the VAT rate. There are various forms of tax rate, including proportional tax rates, fixed tax rate, and compound tax rate. The level of consumption tax aims to adjust the product structure, guide the direction of consumption, and raise fiscal revenue. In the future, the reform of consumption tax will focus on the adjustment of the scope of levy, the backward shift of levy, and the adjustment of tax rate, so as to better adapt to the needs of economic and social development. Three characteristics of China's consumption tax include various forms of tax rates, high level of tax rate and a big difference in tax burden, selective scope of taxation, single nature of leveling, special nature of tax regulation, and transferability of tax burden. This further makes consumption tax play an important role in raising fiscal revenue, regulating production and consumption, protecting the environment and resource, and regulating income distribution. Three characteristics of China's consumption tax include various forms of tax rate, high level of tax rate, and big difference in tax burden, selective scope of taxation, single nature of leveling, special nature of tax regulation, and transferability of tax burden. This feature makes consumption tax play an important role in raising fiscal revenue, regulating production and consumption, protecting the environment and resources, and regulating income distribution. The indirect tax system includes customer duty, urban maintenance, and construction tax, resource tax, land value added tax, vehicle purchase tax, stamp duty, deed tax, cultivated land occupation tax, and environmental protection tax. These taxes play an important role in regulating the economy, protecting resources, and promoting social equity. By reasonably setting the tax rate and levy scope, indirect tax not only provide a stable source of revenue for the state finance, but also play an important regulatory role in economic and social development. In recent years, the reform direction of China's indirect tax system mainly include reducing the proportion of indirect tax, optimizing the local tax system, implementing tax and fee reduction policies, increasing the proportion of direct tax, and adjusting tariffs. These reform measures aim to optimize the tax structure, reduce the tax burden of enterprises and individuals, support economic development, and promote social equity. Japan's consumption tax rate has been gradually increased from 3% in 1989 to 10% in 2019, and each tax increase has had a significant impact on the economy. Going forward, Japan will continue to adjust its consumption tax policy, particularly with tax reforms targeting cross-border commercial and digital services, as well as the implementation of a new tax rebate system. These charges are aimed at balancing fiscal revenue and economic growth while responding to social security pressure from an aging population. Japan's consumption tax system has a standard rate of 10%. Which applies to most goods and services. The light reduced rate is 8% and applies mainly to food, beverage, and newspapers. This differentiation aims to reduce the impact on daily expense, especially on the low-income group. Through this tax rate differentiations, the Japanese government ensures revenue collection while taking into account social equity and livelihood needs. Japan's indirect tax system includes a variety of taxes such as customer duty, liquor tax, tobacco tax, and gasoline tax. These taxes play an important role in regulating the economy, protecting the environment, and promoting social equity. By rationalizing tax rate and levy ranges, the Japanese government ensures facial revenue while taking into account social equity and people's livelihoods. Japan's indirect tax system ensures timely tax revenue collection and reduces the burden on taxpayers through intermediate and annual returns. Businesses need to understand the process and considerations of intermediate filing and rationalize their tax affairs to ensure that they file and pay tax on time. Meanwhile, the new regulation in 2025 will affect cross-border sellers in many ways, including increase the tax cost, increase the compliance pressure, and intensify the market competition. Enterprises should adopt strategies to refine operations and improve service quality to cope with the new market environment. Tax structure: China is dominated by indirect tax, while Japan is dominated by consumption tax. Tax burden level: Chinese enterprises have a heavy burden of indirect tax, while Japanese enterprises have a relatively low tax burden. Tax collection and management: China is promoting the informationalization and efficiency improvement of tax collection and management, while Japan's tax collection and management focus on the balance between service and penalties. Economic impact: China's tax policy adjustments are aimed at reducing the burden on enterprise and promoting economic restructuring. China's tax policy is aimed at supporting enterprise innovation and investment and promoting sustainable economic development. China and Japan's indirect tax system have both similarity and difference. In terms of tax rate structure, tax administration, and tax incentives, the similarity lies in the adoption of progressive tax rate and a variety of tax deductions. While the difference lies in the level of tax rate and the specific tax administration process. Understanding this characteristic will help international companies better planning their tax strategy and minimize tax risk when entering the Chinese and Japanese markets. China's further tax reform will focus on maintaining the reasonableness and stability of the macro tax burden, deepening the reform of the tax system, and optimizing the structure of fiscal revenue. Japan, on the other hand, will continue to expand the coverage of consumption tax, especially for cross-border e-commercial and digital service, and adjust the tax reform system to ensure tax fairness. These reform directions reflect the effort of both countries to adapt to economic changes and and enhance test government's capacities. Adjustments in test policies have far-reaching impact on the economic activity of enterprise and individuals. Enterprise and individuals should pay close attention to the dynamic of tax reform, understanding and adapt to the new tax policies in a timely manner. Plan their financial and business strategy in a rational manner, ensure tax compliance, and make full use of tax incentives to enhance economic and social benefits.